Hey, sisters, welcome to your weekly breakthrough. This week, I want to tackle a subject that's vulnerable for me to talk about right now, and that is how do we face personal crisis when we're in leadership? How do we navigate our big emotions, our very real challenges? As we like to say at Women Rocking Business, life is in session. How do we navigate through all of this when we're facing super real circumstances? Like right now, I'm faced with the very real possibility that my house could burn down in a forest fire. I just self-evacuated. My neighborhood is only in the warning zone, but the air quality was so unbearable. And I have cats and I have, work is stacked up right now. And I couldn't actually function in my home. And I just went through the process of literally going through everything that I own in the hour and 15 minutes that I had to get out of there and deciding what I would take and what I would leave in my home if the fire takes my home here in Santa Cruz, California. And so I tackle this subject on all of our behalf because, this year has been an unprecedented year that most of us never imagined we'd be facing. The level of challenges, not just personal, but societal challenges that we're facing as a global community. And, I normally tell my clients, don't tell a story that you're still bleeding from, because when you tell stories that you're still bleeding from, it can become all about you and not about your participants. And this one, it's like, I just want to speak to it in the moment. It's too real. It's too up for me. And I do feel I've done some work to get to a place where I can talk about this without breaking down. But I think that's the work, right? Like when we have personal upheaval, for those of us that have been called into a little bit more of an authentic version of leadership, like we're actually working with our life as the canvas for our clients, our community, our followers. I think it's important to learn how to navigate the stuff that's happening in real time, because I think the stuff that's happening in real time is what we all want to freaking talk about. And it's like, are we and are you and am I able to do our work enough inside? Like I've been working with my friends and one of my coaches over the last few days to just stay current with my emotions, so that when I do get on camera, I can talk about what it's like to pack up my most valuable assets and put my cats in cat carriers and, drive to my friend's house. I can talk about that without letting my emotions like derail me. And to give ourselves permission to get vulnerable, to get tender, but to be knee deep in that tenderness, knee deep in those emotions, rather than waist deep or chest deep. Because, let's face it, our emotions can ultimately end up having our teachings and our videos or our trainings end up being more about us than about those who are listening. And so, for those of you that are here, I'm curious, what's your favorite tool? Like, how do you navigate personal, very real circumstances that come crashing down on you? And what are you navigating now? What are you navigating now? If you have a favorite tool, breath work, meditation, whatever it is, spring cleaning with a friend, unloading on someone you care about who's going to love you no matter what. It's like, what do you do to get through that? Because I'll tell you what, having, your home taken in a forest fire, having someone that you love taken by a pandemic, like this is no joke. These circumstances are not for the faint of heart. And you know what? Leadership has never been for the faint of heart. We didn't get into leadership for a smooth ride to the finish line. We said yes to being leaders because some part of our soul was like, yeah, I want to go all the way in this lifetime. I'm going for expansion. I'm going for freedom. I'm going for enlightenment. We dove into the deep end, whether we know it or not, when we said, yeah, I'm stepping into leadership right now. And I think back and it's like since my career began, I've gotten a chance to lead thousands of women through, political campaigns that have not gone the way that I wanted them to or the way my community wanted them to. I've had a chance to lead during, me personally losing my aunt and my cousin in a horrible car accident. I've had a chance to lead during the pandemic. I know many of you have too. We are now leading at a time when social justice issues, racial injustice issues, and inequalities are being dismantled. We are leading at a time when thousands of people are losing their homes in forest fires, in devastating earthquakes, tropical storms. Right? None of this is new. What feels a little new over here is that now it's my house. And so it's like that close to home. And while I'm in this inquiry of who am I when I'm faced with the possibility of tragic loss and simultaneously a huge amount of pressure and expectations and responsibility that I'm holding, who am I? And I invite us all to ask that question for the next few minutes as a way of just self-reflecting, because these things happen. It's never convenient when they happen. It's never like, oh, it's a really good thing that I had to move out of my house on that afternoon that I had nothing else planned, right? Like it's hardly ever like that. Like for me, the warning zone got put into place the night before I was leading a 2-day virtual event for my high level clients. Like, no joke. Everything was set up. My scripts were printed out. My, microphone, my lights, my everything. My office is totally, ready to go for this 2-day event. And boom, I have to leave my house at 9:30, 10 at night the night before and pack up my cats and make those decisions. And so in those moments where life is in session, it's like we don't have time necessarily to think through all of those implications. We just have to be in pure action. And so what I'm curious about is how do you show up when your community needs you to show up? And what you feel like doing is digging a hole in the ground and crawling into it and burying yourself with dirt, right? It's like, these are the moments, like that right there moment, when you least want to step into leadership. That's the moment when you can step in, right there, you expand. And you never actually go back. Like I believe energetically that when you can step in that moment, you actually expand your capacity forever. And so there's a few things I recommend you do when you're in that moment, right? Because a queen, when you have stepped into the energy of queen, a queen is here for her people. It doesn't matter what might be going on. Yes, she has a family to think about. Yes, she has her health to think about. And she also has her people to think about. And so how do you balance all of those spinning plates? And as a queen, there's a few things you've got to know as an entrepreneurial queen. Number one, there are times when your brain power is not going to be enough. The other night when I got the call to think about evacuating my house, I was so tired from already working and leading all day long. It was like I didn't have the chi. I didn't really have the thinking power to make a decision. And so the first thing I did was I picked up the phone. I called a trusted friend who was not being affected by the fires. And I was like, okay, can you help me think through this? Can I borrow your brain for a minute? Here's the issues at hand. I've got to, I have to lead this training tomorrow. Here's the current circumstances. I don't have to leave, but there's a 50% chance they're telling me that my power could go out. By the time we talked through it, she was like, yeah, if I were you, I would just pack up the basics, Go grab your passport, go grab your birth certificate, go grab your entire file box of any important paperwork, grab a couple of your favorite outfits, grab what you need for supplements, medicine, get your cats, their food, the litter box. And I'm literally like making a list as she's saying this, right? Because my brain is at that moment compromised because I had just gotten notice that there's a fire that's creeping toward my town, right? So write this down. There's times when my brain is not enough. There's times when you have to use other people's brain power. And then that muscle is about trusting others to have your back when needed, because as a leader, you're not always going to be able to do everything, period. And so there's times when you have to let go and let other people help you make some of those big decisions, right? Because that's a big part of leadership, is just being willing to keep moving, just being willing to keep making decisions in the face of all the pressure, because yes, there's pressure. Yes, it's going to feel like a pressure cooker sometimes. And yes, your ability to dance with chaos is the heart of your leadership capacity. And so let's talk about the second thing I've been reflecting on as my car is full of all my most important, valuable belongings, and my cats are getting used to being somewhere new. And that is to be willing to feel your feelings and take care of yourself, even in the middle of the storm. And so in the middle of all of this, right, I had landed, I had gotten myself settled. My boyfriend wanted to talk about plan B, like what happens if his community gets evacuated. And I said, I'd be happy to talk to you about that in 90 minutes. I was sitting down to do yoga when he opened up the conversation, and I had only been here a few hours, and he's like, but, and I just asked, would you be willing to wait 90 minutes? Because I don't think we're going to be evacuated in the next 24 hours. And I'm not going to be any good to think through this decision with you if I don't take care of myself. My heart had been racing. I hadn't slept for the last 2 nights, and I needed rebalance. And so you are no good when you're out of balance. And you know, right? Only you can know when you're out of balance. Other people won't recognize that about you, especially if you're somebody who is in leadership a lot, or if you have kids or friends or people that look to you as the one with the answers, right? They won't know when you're under-resourced. And so nobody's going to do this for you. You have to be willing to stop in the middle of the storm and do the thing that you know will bring you back into balance, whether it's a 10-minute nap, meditation, breath work. For me, I needed that time to stretch my body, to move, to do yoga, to breathe, to come back to myself. Please, 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 on behalf of your clients, on behalf of the world that you're here to change, put me being resourced at the top of your list, right? And just know that everybody around you who loves you and depends on you is going to benefit from that choice. And it can be controversial to some people around you when you push back and let them know, can we have this conversation later, when that hasn't been set up in the relationship dynamic thus far. Trust me when I say it's worth it to renegotiate these dynamics so that you can show up and be the resourced queen that your people deserve to have leading them. And that you deserve to have her guiding your life, right? Your inner queen is who you want guiding your life, not your little girl, not your afraid part of you, right? But that bigger part of you. And that brings me to the third reflection that has just become so clear in the last few days. And that is that everything has a purpose. You know, it's like in the middle of packing up, it's like material items, like, yeah, you know, I picked out this incredible pantsuit with my good friend Christina Marassi, and it looks so hot on me on stage. And do I bring it or do I not bring it? Do I have room for my favorite pair of shoes, right? Do I have room for my really cool tarp that I like to take camping, right? It's like, at the end of the day, those things can be replaced. They mean nothing in my mind, I was thinking about even my most prized possessions, the totem pole that my grandfather carved for me, the guitar that my grandmother gave to me. It's like, those things just mean nothing compared to my health, my mental stability, the relationships in my life, my business that I've built virtually, that I get to show up for from wherever I happen to be, right? As long as I have Wi-Fi and a computer and a video camera. Those were the first things I grabbed, by the way. My computer, my video camera, my microphone. I'm like, okay, what do I really need here to be able to show up? And I have like this pie chart in my mind. It's like the pie chart of what's most important in my life, right? And it's like my health, my business, my team, my friends, my family, right? My family, my cats. And, my home has always been on that pie chart. And in my home, it's like, and all the things, the things that have me feel so comfortable and cared for on a daily basis. My fuzzy bathrobe and my favorite slippers and my hot tub and my Epsom salts. And, I have 3 redwood trees in the backyard that I commune with. And, I would let that all go in a heartbeat if it meant keeping my health, my love, relationships, my most loving relationships, my family, and my business. And it was just so refreshing to watch the pie chart in my mind. All those material items, like the slices of pie, like get so much skinnier as I was packing stuff up, and like almost vaporized from my pie chart, so that by the time I got in my car, I was like, I have everything I need right here. I have a direct connection on my phone to everybody I love. I have a car that's full of gas. I have fresh drinking water. I have my cats. And I have several places to go, because even in that matter of moments, several people had reached out to me to ask if I'd like to come crash at their home. And not everybody has that. I had a shelter I could have gone to. But at the end of the day, this is why, isn't it? This is why we say yes to leadership and to building these businesses. We say yes because we know deep down that as we establish ourselves in our message, our gift, our contribution for the world, we actually create something that nobody can take away from us. The earth can't take it away from us. I mean, of course, our life can be taken away from us. But this is yours, sister. This business that you're building, the blood, sweat, and tears that are going into you building this business, hear me when I say to you, it can be excruciating. It can be maddening. Technology can send you spinning, frustrated. Failed launches can send you wanting to give up. Not getting as many clients as you want can leave you desperate, frustrated, and hopeless. And I am here to tell you, don't stop. Don't stop. It is worth it. It is worth being able to, at any moment, walk through the world and know that you have built something that can't be taken away from you. And if it were, you can rebuild because you built it in the first place. There was a coup that went off in Fiji years ago, and Tony Robbins has a big retreat center there. And there were a lot of people saying, oh, Tony's done. He's losing $1 million a day or whatever it was because there's this coup in Fiji, and, his retreat center is underwater, and, Tony Robbins is going to go down. And I'm just like, dude, Tony's not going down. Tony is Tony. Nobody can take down Tony. And no matter what you think of Tony, we are standing on his shoulders. We're standing on his shoulders. We're standing on Oprah's shoulders. We're standing on the shoulders of Brene Brown and Marianne Williamson and every other thought leader who has been willing to walk through the blood and the sweat and the tears of growing what it is that they've grown. And it doesn't have to be painful. Sweat and tears can be glorious, right? Even bleeding can be like this, expansion of the primal self, right? Like, I'm not trying to paint a doomsday picture of your business and the process of actually going out there and doing the marketing and the hustling. But what I'm inviting you into is the capacity to expand, to rise in the face of the hardships, and to know that the hard work is actually part of the reward, because we didn't come in to just freaking have orgasms all day. And like, sometimes in the middle of the biggest challenge I'm facing with my business, or heading into a big event, or making a big decision, or taking a big risk, or something not going the way I wanted it to, when I can plug in, I can actually find orgasm and pleasure and love and, bliss, even in that moment of just showing up. And you can too. Life is happening. Life is in session. And life is happening to move you toward greater leadership. Everything has a bigger purpose. If my home burns down, who I'm going to become in that process is even more clear and clean and available to show up for you and to show up for myself. And yeah, it sucks. And yeah, every single one of you who's being affected by what's happening on the planet right now and you're struggling, I send my love out to you. The entire Women Rocking Business community literally are reaching our virtual arms through the camera, through the computer, through the phone right now. We are embracing you in the most beautiful, sweet, luxurious hug ever. And we're looking in your eyes and we're saying to you, you can do this. Don't ask for it to be easier. Ask to know your own strength. Keep rising in the face of all that's happening. Trust me when I say the person who's going to benefit the most from your willingness to keep showing up is you, sister. Thank you for being with me as I was packing up my car. Thank you for being with me on this journey of leadership. Let me know what you got out of this video below. And for those of you that are looking to continue to expand your business, stay tuned for my upcoming announcement. We have a 3-day Rock Your Online Sales retreat coming up. First time I've ever taught this content. This is our multi-million-dollar formula we're going to be providing in September 15th through the 17th. Save the dates. More information is on the way. I hope you can join us for that event. It's going to be through the roof. Thank you for sending my home love. I invite you to take a moment and visualize water coming from the sky all over California. Visualize cooling, wet, moist air rising up from the ocean and moving up into the areas affected by fire. Thank you to every one of you that has reached out. Please send all California communities who are being affected by fire love. Imagine fire being contained. Imagine people being protected, and take a deep breath. And I invite you to include that protection and that love in your own heart as well as you go out today and continue shining your light. And if this video has been supportive of you, please share this with someone who you know would benefit, especially women who are on a big mission, because as you know, we are all in this together. I can't wait to see some of you at the September event. Let me know what you got out of this video below. Thank you for being the very best part of Women Rocking Business. Mwah. And if you got value from this episode, I invite you to hit the subscribe button so that we can get you weekly business trainings in your inbox to help you grow your impact and your income the women's way. Head over into the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook group and introduce yourself there, because women go so much further when we go together. Just click the button to subscribe and we will see you on the other side.